What's up, everybody? It's your favorite sorcerer's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at Mezco's Mortal Kombat Wave 2, which is Katana, Quan Chi, and Kotal Kahn. So let's not waste too much time. First up is Quan Chi. Comes with a fair amount of accessories. He comes with these translucent skeleton hands and arms, a little radius and ulna action. What? Name dropping, not a big deal. You can plug them right here into the back. And, you know, cool enough. No concerns on my end. He comes with this translucent green skull, which, you know, he throws, and he smashes them against people's faces and stuff, too. And, you know, you can sit it in there. It doesn't hold it tightly, but for a pose, it'd be fine. He comes with this sword. The sculpting of the sword is actually pretty cool. Like, it's all textured here, and then all of the, you know, the wrapping is textured on there, and then the wrapping is painted and washed. Like the bone aspect of it is painted and washed, and then the sword, it looks like it's painted and possibly washed as well. I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Now, can he hold it? Probably can in one of these numerous sets of hands they give you. Yep, holds it just fine. As far as the hands, you get a left and right holding hand. All of them are the same. They're the white plastic with the black painted on, and where the black is painted on, it's actually sculpted as well. So that's pretty cool. It looks like the white is washed also. Two fist hands, left and right. Actually, and then I got another fist hand. I'm not quite sure what's up with that. Well, we'll get to this. I might have some errors with mine, but we'll get to that. It looks like I have two. Well, I don't know. Are they the same? They're not different enough if they aren't the same. All right, let's talk about the figure. So these hands are like the power using hands. You know, pretty impressive. Just like the other three that I've looked at, like for the price point and what you're getting, it's pretty impressive. So the head is on a ball joint. The only problem with this ball joint is because of the sculpt of the back of the head. You get a very limited up, and I feel like Quan Chi is a character that you really want to have looking up. The eyes they're painted okay. I mean, they're there. I mean, what's painted is painted well. I'm just not sure if they're the best sculpted. But whatever. The tattoos are painted awesome. All on the arms, the head, everywhere. And then the little red bit there is actually circled in a black, and then the black is painted on as well, and all looks nice. For the torso of the figure, it's on a ball joint. It gets a little jammed up but it's there. Doesn't really give you much forward and back. But it's the waist swivel is there for sure. For the torso, though, all this stuff, except with the exception of maybe this piece, which might be glued on, and I think maybe these pieces, but you know, I can't. Yeah, they're probably glued on as well. The rest of it's all sculpted. So, like, these leather straps are sculpted and painted brown. Some of the paint gets a little touch and go on the straps, but for the most part, it's pretty well done. The black buckles and then the silver on top are all painted. These shoulder pads are painted black on top of the brown that's painted, and then these are painted silver as well as those silver bits in there. And the silver bits seem to be washed, and then the face down here is dry brushed, like this armament here on his chest is dry brushed. So it's pretty impressive, and then all that's there is dry brushed as well, that little design on his back. Pretty impressive for a $20 6-inch figure. Shoulders, we have ball hinge shoulders. They work fine. They're a little stiff. A lot of the joints here on this fella in particular are a little stiff. No bicep swivel, but you get a swivel at the elbow, which to me is fine. And then you get the single hinged elbow, which is okay. Get you 90 degrees. The belts are the straps rather, and armor here is all sculpted on. The armor is dry brushed. The belts seem to be washed. I just can't get over how much they put into these things. Wrist swivel and on a hinge, and then the same as before. All like the rings and armor on his fingers are all sculpted, painted as well. Same hinge on this side, so this arm is identical, except the tattoos the same. Yes, the tattoos are the same, just the reverse. For the lower piece, this is a soft piece of plastic. This armor up here is all sculpted on the soft piece of plastic, and then the soft pieces of plastic are glued onto the figure. The metal is dry brushed. The flaps are like the fabric or whatever this is, leather maybe, is washed. The pants are like all the folds in the pants are all sculpted, which looks really nice. It's really good sculpt work. Articulation's a little bit better, I feel like, goes out to there. You don't get much forward though because of this pliable plastic is not pliable enough to really get out of its way. I feel like the articulation is probably there. It's just design wise, it doesn't really let you get it. Thigh swivel is built into the hip. No, it's not. It's right below the hip. Right there. And then you get a single jointed knee and swivel, which is a bit redundant, but it's there. And the skulls are all sculpted and dry brushed. The straps are painted. For the calves, the wrinkles are sculpted, the boots are sculpted, the armor on top of the boots are sculpted, and the straps are sculpted. All this bit here is dry brushed silver, and the rest is painted brown. Same with the foot, dry brushed silver, rest is painted brown. Very impressive. And also this belt here is painted like a gray that's not really used anywhere else. Ankles, you get a tilt. Oh, I think it's on a ball joint. No, it's on a ball hinge. So you get a tilt, which works fine, and then a swivel and also a rocker. The rocker's on the ball joint. Now, the only thing I have noticed about these ankles, it's not a problem, just something to be aware of, is every now and then the sculpt of the ankle will get out and around the sculpt of the calf, and you'll feel like you can't move the foot. Just take a look at it and make sure the ball joint's underneath the sculpt, and you should be fine. Next up is Katana. She comes with a fair share of accessories herself, namely her 2 fans in like action mode. We'll get her out of the way for the sake. I will say this figure's really well balanced. Like, we'll get to that. These are nice. They're sculpted. They're a thinner plastic, so be careful. I mean, they don't feel fragile, but it's thin. The silver's painted on and is a little too touch and go. Like, this is a little outside the realm of okay for me. I'm not sure if you guys can see that all along the edges there, but kind of a mess. We got an ink like drop there basically, and then the blue is painted. It's a nice sculpted accessory, but it's definitely a little it's a little less care put into that one. This one is a little closer to what I would want. The inks are all done clean. The blue is fairly clean. The silver is much better, and on both sides. So maybe it's an individual results will vary thing, and I just got one bum one. And then she's got 2 of the collapsed fans, if you want to go that look, which are pretty wicked looking weapons. The silver's painted on, because the silver has a finish on it, and then maybe it's a blue plastic. Can't even tell. This company applies so much paint that I can't even tell. Hands. We get 2 karate hands, which are like this, or perhaps they're praying hands. But they're fine. They all, I think all of these hinge out and in. I don't think any hinge up and down, which is a bit of a bummer. You get 2, I'm going to tickle you. I'm going to tickle your hands. And then you get 2 holding hands. I will say that I haven't tried this yet. I'm not sure how this is. I'm pleasantly surprised how that worked. And yeah, so let's talk about the figure. She also has 2 hands on her, which are like posing hands as well. So we'll talk about the head sculpt, which is pretty spot on. Once again, I feel like if it's hard for me to critique their paint, right? Because it's a $20 figure and they do a pretty bang-up job. But I feel like if they were to throw a layer of gloss over those eyes, it would just give them a little bit more depth and realism. Hair is sculpted fairly well. The braids are all sculpted. These things are sculpted and painted. It looks like this might be a separate piece, this bun with the braids on it glued on to the head, as well as this piece here glued onto the head. The gold is painted. The eyeshadow is painted. Eyeliner is painted. Eyebrows are painted. All looks good. Could look better with a layer of gloss on there, I think, but looks pretty good. Mask is all sculpted and painted. Head is on a ball joint. That works really well. Even gets you a fair bit up. So that's cool. Alright. Torso. So there's a number of things glued on here, which I'm fine with. This belt is one of them. And this belt, I think, is actually glued onto the pelvis to hide the joint, the ball joint of the torso, which is pretty smart, must say. This strap here in the back, that's all painted black and then silver on top and then blue on top of that, and that line there is sculpted. All that stuff is sculpted on there. The shoulder pads are on the torso, which is another smart choice. Still hinders articulation a bit, but not really. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's pliable enough where it doesn't really bother you. Now, no, you know, I think this gold piece here might be a glued-in piece. Yeah. Okay. So this piece here, you know, I can't tell how they did it. Okay. All right. I got it now, I think. All right. Let me get a tool. So starting from here, up around both sides, including the shoulder pads, down here with these two straps onto this gold piece here, and also coming along here to this gold piece is a glue-on piece on top. But it fits really well, and it's really well done. That's the way it looks to me anyway, because I'm seeing glue residue, like slight glue residue up in there. So that's what I'm guessing. And then this piece here is a separate piece that's glued on top. And there's just tons of paint all over this thing. The silvers are washed with black, except for these, which are dry brush silver. The gold is painted on and looks like it was washed as well. The blue is painted on. It's crazy. I don't particularly care for the Mezco China right there in the middle of her back. I wish they could have found a better place for that, but whatever. Ball hinge shoulders. Get you up to there. And then, of course, you can spin it around and get more. And then the swivel is intact. No bicep swivel, but you get the swivel right above the elbow, which is fine. And elbows on a single hinge. Get you double jointed. I guess you could do like a break scene. And a little shy at 90 degrees. The bands are all sculpted and painted and washed. With the silver's washed anyway. For the forearm... Alright, so we got a black plastic, the blue is painted on, and then this lighter blue is painted on, just the details there. Really nice. Wrist swivel and hinge. Same for the other side. Better articulation, I feel like, again. They're T-jointed ball joints that get you out to there. Forward to here. That's kind of misleading. Forward to there. And then thigh swivel at the bottom of the hip joint, which it's not the best. I'll be honest with you. I think that it should have been just swiveled at the hip joint, because like you can't really get much out of it without destroying the sculpt. And that's a pretty noticeable joint seam as well. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. And I also feel like this paint here on the back of the pelvis gets a little thin. Like, it's not sharp, it's like fuzzy on the seams. I'm not a big fan of that either. Now the sculpts in the fabrics here are great on the thigh, and then they come down. They're split painted on the inside, and then they come down to this stuff, which is all sculpted, and like all the little seams and stuff are sculpted. Single joint knee that gets you almost nothing. And then this is sculpted on to the thigh piece, and that's painted like a black, and then a silver on top, and then a silver and a blue on top. Blue line painted on across there. Ankles, you have what feels like a ball hinge to get you the tilt back. It might just be a ball joint. It might just be a really well designed ball joint. Tilt back and forth, swivel, and rocker. So she looks good. The sculpt is great for the most part. I feel like there were some really smart decisions made here and some really kind of less than stellar decisions made here. But overall, I think she's fair, especially for her price point. She's a steal, to be honest, at her price point. And last up is Kotal Kahn. Not many accessories with this guy. I'm guessing because of the size of the figure, he's a bit larger than the others, and the size of one accessory, which is this big mamma jamma here, which I love. The red looks dirty. It's like they only washed along the outlines of this snake design. But it doesn't look like it was done sloppily. It looks like it was done purposefully, and I like that. And then the green is all painted on there as well. And then the black on blade and spikes is all like a glossy finish. Amazing accessory. It has a good weight to it. The sculpting down here of the wrap is not very clean. And this is kind of big and awkward, this triangular ring down here. This doesn't look as tightly done as, like, say, the Quan Chi's wrappings, or like even that wrapping that's done there on his other accessory, which is this thing. I love this. I love weapons that look like it's the impact that's supposed to hurt more than like the sharpness of the blade. Like this pounds you, and it's just I don't know. I dig weapons like that. It's washed. The blade is washed. The wrapping down here is washed. The handle is washed, and all are independently painted. So nothing to complain about. Hand-wise, he comes with two gripping hands. We'll see how they hold up. I want to use, I think, this plastic is pretty stiff, so use caution. So he holds that just fine, and this also just hinges in and out, same as this one. He holds that one just fine, so no worries there. Now for the figure, ironically, this is my least favorite character of this wave, but it's my favorite figure of this wave. I just think that everything really works here. We'll get into it, but this is a really impressive looking figure. Head is on a ball joint, limited up because of the sculpt of the helmet, but good down, fair down, I guess. And then side to side is fine. The amount of paint and detail in this head is redonkulous. So, it's like I don't even know where to begin. Everything is painted in some regard. You have these feathers in the back. We got red ones, we got black ones, we got this white one. They're all washed. The paint on the helmet, it looks like it has a metallic finish, and then the gold is on top. Crazy. And then all of that detail in there is sculpted as well. The face is sculpted really well, and the eyes are painted white, and then around the eyes are painted a lighter shade of blue and then a darker shade of blue to give the illusion of them glowing. Really looks good, and then the bone through the nose is painted as well. All this detailing on the upper torso, the upper chest, is all sculpted and painted with the metallic finish, and then the gold on top. And then the skin is all dry brushed with a white over top of this green, and all of these like scars that are on his chest are all sculpted in, same as on the back. Really, really impressive. Torso's on a ball joint, hidden well by the belt, and good articulation, so no problems there. Shoulders are on ball hinges, good articulation out to the side, swivel works fine, no problems there. No bicep swivel, but you get an elbow swivel, which is fine with a single hinge that gets you in just about 90 degrees. Coming out to a wrist that's on a swivel with the hinge, and these hands you have one, both kind of posing. One's a little bit more wizardy, and one's I'm gonna get you. And same with the flesh kind of details follow through to the arm, and then the armor details follow through as well with the metallic finish. And then like in the metallic, I hope you can see that, all that little minute sculpt work in the armor. Crazy. Metallic finish and then gold on top. It does seem a little weak. Now, I'm nitpicking, okay? I'm nitpicking. I'm just pointing it out. Doesn't bother me, just pointing it out. But that these straps aren't painted independently, because it doesn't seem like they would have that metallic finish. But whatever. I'm fine with it. Articulation is the same for the other side, as are the details. So we have this this soft plastic piece that's floating on top of the torso to hide the joint, and I think it's floating. It might be. Nope, it's glued onto the pelvis, which is fine. All that stuff is washed. It's a red soft plastic, and then it's washed with like a black, and then you have the darker color painted on, the skull color painted on and washed, and then we have this silver here for the little buckle. Carries on through, and it looks like it's even dry brushed here in the back. The thighs, T-jointed ball joints, it looks like. Yep. Out to the front, not the best. Out to the side on both ways are good. Thighs swivel at the base of the hip joint, which doesn't actually bother me on this guy as much, and maybe because this is hiding most of it. The flesh detailings follow through, but we do have some red spillover from here to here. But I don't think this is a red plastic. So I'm not sure if it might be scuffs from this to that, which is unfortunate. Single hinge knee, but it gets you anything you could want, really. And then you get a swivel there as well, which is useless, but it's there. Down in here, all this stuff is all painted independently and washed, or the metallic finish on the boots, and then the gold is on there as well. The feet, same type of deal, and they are on ball. It looks like I really, yeah, they're on ball pegs, and so you get the tilt, and you get the swivel, and you get the rocker. Really an impressive figure. Final thoughts wise, this is an interesting set. For the price point, I don't feel like these figures are paralleled. I can't think of a $20 figure that you get as much out of. I guess the runner-up would be Star Wars Black Series, but even those, I mean, these things blow them out of the water. The paint is absolutely absurd. The sculpts, absolutely absurd for a $20 price point. And I've seen them on Walmart online for like $18.99. In that regard, they're definitely worth it. If you love Mortal Kombat or you love good cheap 6-inch figures, like, they're definitely worth it. There's no question about it. The only real complaint I have about them, I even feel like from this wave, from their previous wave, that they've stepped up the articulation. Like, I feel like the hips work a little bit better. Everything else is kind of the same, but I feel like the hips work a little bit better, and some of the shoulders here are better. The big problem I have here is that I've heard a nasty rumor that these are the last Mortal Kombat figures they're making. Now that's a real bummer, because that's a real incomplete shelf. You got 6 figures, and one of them is Kotal Kahn. I mean, I love Quan Chi, but not for nothing. Quan Chi shouldn't have got a figure before a lot of other characters. That sort of like tease, that we're making Mortal Kombat figures, and then you get 6. It's like, you know what I could really go for? A big bowl of popcorn all to myself. Ooh. I can have it all?
No. Only 6.
But I really hope that that's not the case. I really hope that they're able to make more, because I would buy anyone that they possibly could make. My dream would have them to fill out the whole cast, in this scale with this sort of love and attention. Because I think this is the best figure for a $20 price point that money can buy. But I have a hard time recommending them, because if you only got 6, and you're trying to really have like a massive, impressive Mortal Kombat shelf, you only got 6. So, fingers crossed. Mezco, I tip my hat to you. I think that you're doing great stuff. Don't stop. And don't stop with this line. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.